I get asked all the time, would I recommend getting the Garmin inReach Mini 2, especially given that it's on sale frequently? Now, I got to say, I test a lot of satellite communicators. I use a lot of different ones. The one I always go to if I'm not testing something is the Mini 2. I think overall, this is the best balance of functionality, weight, flexible plans. I'll talk about all those things in this video, tell you why it's worked so well. But just looking at the outside of this compared to this video I shot when I first got it after a month or two, it almost looks identical on the outside. I mean, this is rugged. I've taken this probably thousands of miles of trails at this point over the 3 years it came out. I think it came out in February of 2022. And it's still in great shape. Now, the one exception to this is the battery. And anything you have for years and years, the battery life is going to get worse over time. The Mini 2 is no exception. I'm getting much less battery life than I got when I first bought it. But if you buy one new, you'll get the battery life, or you should get the battery life that's very good. And if it goes, if you're getting on used on eBay or something, the battery life might be worse. But for me, still plenty for a very long day hike, a couple days of backpacking. I don't have to worry about it. Another thing for Garmin specifically is that they're generally pretty good about updating their firmware. And if you look at the firmware list for the Mini 2, there's a lot of things they've not only fixed, but also added, including the ability to use this with the Garmin Messenger app. You can do things like control the settings, do a lot of different things that you couldn't do with the Garmin Explore app, which is what this worked with before. The Garmin apps are a bit of a mess. The two you need to know about for the inReach Mini 2 are the Messenger app, which is your messaging, back and forth, settings for the device, plan information, and then the Explore app, which is the navigation app where you can download offline maps, topographic maps, all different things that will make this a little bit more powerful when it comes to navigation. Now, I don't use this for my primary navigation, but it's definitely a great tool for backup navigation. And they even introduced new features via firmware, including Sight and Go and the back to start, I think, on this. So it's been improving. I don't think there's going to be many more new things coming out on this, given that it's 3 years old. But I do appreciate that Garmin is improving these things, not only fixing things, but also adding new functionality. Now, let's talk about plans too, because when I first got this, the plans were a lot different. And I think they've improved in recent weeks even. They introduced one type of plan structure where you pay a one-time activation fee. You pay a monthly fee for a certain plan. I did a whole video on the different plans, and I made a plan cost calculator on my website. Just search for HikingGuy inReach cost calculator, and you will find it. But I have the enabled plan. So for $8 US a month, I can hit SOS. And if I want to send messages or do tracking points or get a weather report, I just pay for that a la carte, and it is pretty reasonable. Now, you can also suspend this for up to 12 months, which is something relatively new. So you can, get an account, turn it off for the months that you don't use it, turn it on for the months that you do use it, pay as low as $8 a month for the months you have it on. And I think that's pretty reasonable. Now, Garmin did this to compete with things like the iPhone, which have free messaging and free satellite SOS. And people have asked me, can I just ditch the inReach and get the iPhone? You certainly can, but they're two different beasts. I actually bring both of these. I use my iPhone for my non-emergency messaging, so just texting my wife to tell her I'm going to be late or something. But I depend on my inReach for SOS or for the times when the battery is maybe dead on my phone, or maybe, this is not a durable outdoor instrument. I can drop this, I can shatter the screen. In those cases, I don't want to depend on the phone with my life, and I would do that with the Mini 2. Now, the Mini 2 has a smaller screen, but it is workable. And having used this and ones like the Messenger device, the screen and the buttons are definitely easier to use than the ones on the Messenger, for me at least. So I think the combination of the new plans, the fact that this is durable, the fact that this is reliable, it has a battery that's going to last you days. Just think about if you have to text or message back and forth because there's a medical emergency, right? You need information, or maybe you're out there for days because the weather is preventing rescuers to come. You're going to want as much battery as possible, and something like this is going to do it for you. Now, I have had this fail, right? I've had all my inReaches pretty much fail at some point. They're not all 100% all of the time. Heavy tree canopy is challenging. Canyons are challenging. But that's for anything, any satellite communicator that is. So overall, I've got to say the Mini 2 and the Garmin products in general, the Iridium-based Garmin products have been the most reliable. Now, the other kind of runner-up that I bring sometimes is my Garmin GPSMAP 67i. This is a lot bigger. If you look at it, you can see the size difference. The Mini 2 is just like 100 grams, really small and light, easy to clip on your pack. 67 much bigger, but it comes loaded with maps. It's got a big color screen that you can use to navigate with on the fly. And if I'm going somewhere where the conditions are bad and I don't want to use my phone for navigation, I might bring my 67 with me, but in general, it's just like a little too big, a little too bulky for me to bring on the day-to-day, in which case, I'll bring this bring the Mini 2, and I'll use this in conjunction with my Phoenix 8, which has maps and routing, and with some map apps and offline maps on my phone. So between my phone and my Mini 2, I have redundant satellite communications, redundant SOS, I have redundant navigation, and I also have offline routable navigation on my watch, and I can use the Garmin Explorer app to load courses into my Mini 2, and I can use that in a pinch to navigate as well. So for me, this is my main go-to, the iPhone and the Mini 2 with the enabled plan. So that's what I have. And to answer the original question, do I think this is still a good buy, the inReach Mini 2? I absolutely do. Unless you know for a fact you don't want any of the navigation features, in which case you could probably get the Garmin Messenger, which is a little bit cheaper but lacks navigation features. I think this is probably what I would recommend to most people. Now, if you've had your Mini 2 for a while and you've noticed things have changed with it, leave a comment below. I'm sure other people find it helpful. And if you have any questions or whatever, leave me a comment as well. I'll do my best to answer them. Hopefully this was helpful. Stay safe, guys, and I will see you out on the trails.